What's good, people? I'm back, and today I'm gonna be talking about a tier list of the most attractive female UFC fighters. Now, you might be like, oh, you're objectifying women and all that. Listen, dude, I couldn't care less. If this gets enough likes, I'll make the same video about dudes. Uh, this this idea wasn't even in my head. I was watching a Tony Has Died video. I looked at the comment, and it the comment is on screen, dude. You can read it. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'll do it. You know, if THD, if Tony Has Died, won't give you the video you want, I'll give it to you. In fact, make it an hour long. Make it. This is probably gonna be. Oh man, this is gonna be a long one. I have a lot of fighters on this tier list to talk about, and so let's first of all let me get this out. I'm not when I say we are rating fighters on their looks, let me get this clear. I do not care about fighters and their looks. I personally am when I'm a fan of a fighter, I'm personally fan of them because who they are as a person. And just because some fighter might be a bit lower on the tier list doesn't mean I do not like them or that it's disrespectful. Uh, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know, I'm just doing this tier list because I wanted a video to make, and also I saw the comment and I made a promise to make it and whatever. So we'll be doing it. It's probably gonna be a fun one. By the way, I was thinking about making some jokes and maybe making a script or something like that, but that's not happening. That's just not happening. I'm just gonna rattle off everything, and yeah, this should be fun in theory, but this should not come off as disrespectful or anything. This is just a ranking. This is just a rating, and let me clear this out. The tier. So the first, or should I say rather, can these dogs stop fucking barking? Dude, I need to stop filming at fucking 3 a.m. Dude. These dogs, dude, they just don't stop fucking barking. Or anyway, stop. Okay, now that shit's getting on my nerves. How am I able to hear you? I live on the fucking 4th floor, dude. Okay, that's not that high up, but anyways, hold on, I might have to. See, this is why I hate dogs. I don't know why people like dogs in the first place. People are like, oh, dogs, whatever. Why don't you like dogs? I don't like dogs, cats, pets, anything in the first place. And I genuinely just am not the biggest fan of dogs or whatever. You can go fuck yourself. If you think that I'm a horrible person for not liking dogs. Anyways, let's just get straight into it. You might have to endure some of that. I don't know if you guys can hear it. My mic shouldn't catch it if I'm not wrong, but it's really fucking bothering me. So if you guys can hear it, just bear with it, dude. Like, anyways, the first or the highest tier on this tier list is waifu tier, which I mean it's pretty self-explanatory. The tier below that, the sec is certified baddie. That's pretty self-explanatory as well. The tier below that is you're a fighter. Now this I might have to explain. What this means is it doesn't mean you're mid, it doesn't mean you're decent or whatever. It means that you're not necessarily mid or like just looking, but it means that you're pretty and all that. You look good, you're pretty, but because you're a fighter, your face is gonna be filled with scar tissue, and that's just a part of it. And that's why you're in this tier. If we weren't talking about now, I'll be including fighters in their UFC careers. I won't be including them before or after that. But there will be some exceptions and special cases. But that means that because of all the scar tissue buildup, that's why you're in this tier. And then we have meh tier. It is just meh. You aren't necessarily the prettiest, and the scar tissue does not help. It just doesn't help. That's just it. And then we have eyesore. Now, I think eyesore is pretty self-explanatory. Now, generally speaking, I don't think there's any necessarily ugly females. Like, you look at a dude and you go, yeah, that motherfucker is ugly. You know? With females, it's harder to do. It's harder to say that. I've never seen or genuinely met a female that's like genuinely just ugly. Yeah, if they're either fat, like the only ugly, ugly in quotation marks females you'll see is like the ones that are like fat, and I don't mean chubby. I mean the ones that look like Gorok the Destroyer, the ones that be looking like fucking Lizzo, dude. You know, those are the types I'm talking about. So, and considering you're in the UFC, you're not gonna be overweight. You're gonna be pretty fit. So, putting somebody in the eyesore, if I'm putting you in the eyesore tier, that means I genuinely fucking hate you. That's what that means. It means I have personal beef with you. It means I don't like you personally. That's why you're in the eyesore tier. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because I don't think any females in general are like genuinely just deserve genuinely like you can put them in eyesore. There's not a single one that you can actually put in the eyesore tier if you're being put. But that means if you're being put there, that means you're doing something wrong. That means I don't like you. So you know what? This is probably gonna be long as fuck. I think I've explained it enough. Let me explain the criteria. It is mostly going to be looks related and mostly going to be your face and whatnot. But your haircut, your body type, like, I mean, the body type doesn't really play that much of a role. But like, but like, there's some cases where the your body might actually come into account. Like, have you ever seen Kayla Harrison? Uh, So that's the criteria, and you have the X factor, the aura points, pretty much. Now you might be thinking, oh, this is about attractiveness, not personality. Personality is not being included in this because if it was, then I don't think anybody would be below you're a fighter tier, and except for maybe fucking a couple that I hate, but this is what I mean. If you're in the ISO tier, that means you have negative aura points. And if you're in the waifu tier, you have a lot of aura points. You know, that's what that means. Generally speaking, fighters either fall in the certified baddie tier or you're a fighter tier. I have found more fighters in the meh tier than I thought I would, but looking through generally on average most of them fall in certified baddie or you're a fighter tier. So you know what, let's just get this over with. I think the criteria is explained and whatnot, and I've justified this tier list enough. uh, First of all, let's just get Mackenzie Dern out of the way. Dude, you knew she was gonna be in this tier list. You knew, if you're talking about the most attractive female fighters of all time, you cannot ignore Mackenzie Dern. She's gonna be here. This tier list is about her, and it would not do her justice if I put her any lower than waifu tier. You know, it's the highest tier on the tier list. She's bad. I mean, she does have a bit of scar tissue buildup, but dude, it doesn't. She's so like, it doesn't affect her much. Pretty much, the scar tissue buildup doesn't like affect her much. Unlike some other fighters who are genuinely without the scar tissue, pretty good looking, but with the scar tissue, there there some couple points have to be taken away. You know, they're knocked down a peg pretty much. But I mean, yeah, Mackenzie Dern. What do I have to say? Look at a couple pictures. She is when you say, oh, when you say like an attractive female UFC fighter, Mackenzie Dern is the one that comes into your mind. She pretty much. I I should have changed the tier's name from waifu tier to fucking Mackenzie Dern tier. That's what I should have done. So yeah, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Mackenzie Dern has a lot of fanboys, and she just fanboys like, dude. Next up, we have Kayla Harrison. Whoo, she's going to be put in your fighter here. My explanation for that is, I mean, she should be a certified baddie, but the scar tissue and the fact that she looks like a dude on steroids does not help. I know that means she absolutely destroys everybody in her division, and I like it. Like, if it was up to me, like, the tier list isn't necessarily who I like. It's more so like I have to be more objective. If you're talking about my taste, I would have put it in fucking waifu tier, dude. Because I'm gay. No, no, I'm not gay or anything, but I like dude. You get what I'm saying? If I was gay, I would make an exception for Kayla Harrison. You know, holy shit! If you say muscle mommy, that's her. Maybe a bit too much muscle there, and yeah, she doesn't necessarily look bad, but she has to because she's world champion. You know what I mean? The next fighter on the tier list we have Zhang Wei Li. She's also gonna be put in Eurofighter tier. She isn't necessarily the prettiest out of them all, but and she doesn't necessarily have that much scar tissue either. But she isn't like someone that's like necessarily, what's the fucking term? That doesn't necessarily have that spotlight on them, pretty much. That's not necessarily catching your eyes. When you think about attractive female UFC fighters, she doesn't necessarily pop up in your head, but she's low-key underrated. But that haircut, man. Listen, if you have a lesbian-looking haircut, I'm taking points away. Uh, uh, but you have to understand, every female has a different type of lesbian-looking haircut, because the haircut Zhang Wei Li has, maybe some other girl, you could give her the same haircut and she would not look lesbian. And I don't think Zhang Wei Li looks lesbian either. But dude, that haircut is not good, and I will be taking points away for that. And she's like, I was thinking of putting her in the certified baddie tier, but when you look at the people that are in that tier, you'll understand why she's here. You know, I think we can agree that that's where she should be in the tier list. Next fighter in the tier list we have Valentina Shevchenko, the flyweight champion, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, flyweight. Yeah. I mean, she's in the Eurofighter tier. I think she's above Kayla Harrison. I don't think anybody's arguing with that. Maybe we'll see some couple of guys arguing with that, but I think, yeah, that's pretty decent too. I mean, she should be in the certified baddie tier, but once again, just like Kayla Harrison, because of the scar tissue build-up, and because she's getting up there in age, I have to put her in Eurofighter tier. She's pretty cool, but we are not taking personality into account here. If we were, then I don't. Once again, I have to justify this tier list over and over fucking again, or I'll look like I'll look like an asshole, dude. So yeah. Oh my. Next fighter on the tier list we have Raul Rosas Jr. Dude, Raul Rosas Jr. No, I'm just joking. Verna Chandiroba. I actually think people. I don't know why they think Verna Chandiroba looks bad. She looks bad, dude. Hear me out. Okay, hear me out. She's genuinely hot, but she's cross-eyed. If she wasn't cross-eyed, I'd put her in the certified baddie tier. And her haircut isn't necessarily bad either. It doesn't make her look lesbian. So, and if you don't know, I think you guys should know this. I hate lesbians. Why? I'll give that explanation when we get to Amanda Nunes. I'll give that explanation when we get to Amanda Nunes. But yeah, Werner Jairo, once again, she doesn't necessarily look bad, and she would look good. Nobody's disagreeing with that. She would have been she would have been a tier higher. But once again, the scar tissue build up and the fucking cross-eyedness. And the fact that she looks like Raul Rosas Jr. and maybe if Raul Rosas never existed, maybe I would have put her in a tier higher, but I just can't ignore the fact that she looked like Raul Rosas Jr., dude. So yeah, behind Kayla Harrison, like I think I think they're tied in that spot or whatever. Next fighter on the tier list we have Lupi Godinez. She's going straight into the certified baddie tier. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. She's a baddie, she's bad. I'm actually a Lupi Godinez fan, but only if she had a bit of skill, you know. If only she was a bit more skilled. Oh, see, this is what it means. This is what it is. If your favorite female UFC fighter looks good, that means they're not winning fights. And I think the same pretty much applies to Lupi Godinez. And she also has a bit of scar tissue buildup. It's not as severe, but it's definitely visible. Uh, and once you see the people that are in the waifu tier, I think certified baddie tier is pretty decent. If she didn't have the scar tissue, then maybe yeah, she would be a tier higher. But once again, you just gotta look at a pic and dude, are you fucking kidding me? She's definitely a certified baddie. Next fight on the tier list, we have Amanda Nunes. Now this one I'm gonna talk about this for a little bit. You know, Amanda Nunes, she isn't bad looking or ugly by any means. I think she's pretty decent. She would be at least meh. If you're talking personally, I would put her in Eurofighter tier. I don't think she's that bad looking. Maybe if we took her haircut into account, then maybe you could put her into meh. But the reason she's an eyesore is because I fucking hate lesbians. And if you don't know, she has a wife. She has a wife. She has a wife. So I think it's now let me give the explanation as to why I hate lesbians so much. See, I like gay dudes not because I'm gay, because I'm straight. Now you might be thinking, how does that work? It works because if there's a gay dude, it reduces competition. They're pretty much kicking themselves out of the game. You know, that reduces competition for me, and not only that, they're taking another dude with them, so that reduces even more competition for me. But with lesbians, it does the fucking opposite. Not only are you fucking removing yourself from my bracket, you're also taking another chick, and I fucking hate that. So that's why I hate lesbians. It's just a matter of competition, just lowering competition and increasing competition. So it's just a matter of that. That's why I hate lesbians. And Amanda Nunes, I don't hate her personally, but I'm not a big fan of her either. You know, she did get fluked by fucking Juliana Pena. I still haven't forgotten that. How do you get fluked by Juliana Pena, dude? So yeah, eyesore. I think you get why I put her in the eyesore here. And also the fucking YouTube comment talking about we are putting Amanda Nunes in F tier. It's just too funny of a joke to let go. So yeah, let's just move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have Inoue. Fuck, Mizuki Inoue. Now, I don't know if she's related to Naoya Inoue or Naoki Inoue or whoever, but I didn't know she existed before last year. She fought. She was apparently on like a long break. She's like a pretty old school fighter. She was on a long break and she came back. And I don't know. I think I don't know who I picked, her or her opponent, but I was really happy she got the win. and I'm sort of a fan, and I want her to go on a title run, I guess. But you guys know what my type is. She's not my type necessarily, but how can you not put her in the certified baddie tier? Look at her, dude. She's Japanese. She's a baddie. Do you need me to say more? Do you need more words to come out of my mouth? She isn't, like a supermodel or anything. But are we gonna disagree that she's pretty, dude? I don't think there's any disagreement on that one. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Natalia Silva. She's going straight into waifu tier. I don't care what anybody says. I'm putting her ahead of Mackenzie Dern. She's the new Mackenzie Dern. She's the Mackenzie Dern for the new generation. That's what she is. And I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But, once again, like I said, this tier list is more objective than my personal opinion. Because if this was my personal opinion, I would put her as low as I fucking could. Because I hate Natalia Silva. Not because she personally is horrible or anything, but she robbed Rose Namajunas. And you guys know how big of a fan of Rose Namajunas I am. So that's why I don't necessarily like her. I'm not the biggest fan. But if I have to be objective, and if I have to rate them on like a objective basis, I think it's pretty fair to say she's in the waifu tier. So let's just get to the next fighter on the tier list. We have, who do we have? Fucking Wang Tong. This is a pretty hard one. I don't know why I even have her on the tier list. I just have her for the sake of having her, I guess. Wang Tong. I don't know if it's Wang Kong or Wang Tong. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but I think your fighter tier suits her pretty well. I don't think she's there because of the scar tissue reasons, but she's not necessarily the prettiest fighter there is either. So I think if you look at the tier list as a whole later on, you'll see why she's there, and you'll understand that she's pretty much where she's. I think she's perfectly fine where she is on the tier list. But if this tier list was my opinion, I would put her lower. I did not like the fucking Joker makeup, dude. I think that was cringe. I think that was horrible even. I mean, if she actually went out there and like fought like she had the dog in her, then it wouldn't be cringe, like Josh Hockett. It's only cringe until you fight like you fight, But you do all that bullshit, you're not even that good, Your fighting style isn't even that exciting for you to be doing that much bullshit. So yeah, I'm gonna be putting Wang Tong. Why the fuck did I hit the accent, dude? Yeah, this tier list is gonna get me cancelled somehow, one way or another, dude. I'll be putting her in the Eurofighter tier. Maybe, I think, above Kayla Harrison is fair. Next fighter, we have Angela Hill. Listen, Angela Hill, if we're talking back in the day, now, like I said, this will be mostly including the fighters' UFC careers, or the fighting careers. If she would have retired like a couple years ago, then she would have been in the Eurofighter tier. But she's getting old. She's 41 years of age. And the worst part is she's still ranked. What the fuck is the women's division doing? I don't know. They're like far behind or something, dude. It's because she's 41 years old, she doesn't look as good as she did, and that's why I think our meh tier is fine. If we were talking like a couple years back, then maybe Eurofighter would have been fair. But I think meh tier is pretty fair for Angela Hill. She isn't necessarily the prettiest. She's getting up there in age. Once you start aging, you don't look as good as you did. She wasn't the prettiest to begin with, but meh tier I think is pretty fair. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Tracy Cortez. The thumbnail of this video, the reason why you're here, because you knew she was gonna be in S tier, you knew she was gonna be in the waifu tier. I'm putting her straight in the waifu tier, above Natalia Silva. I Tracy Cortez. At first, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't put her that high up. Maybe she's overrated. But my thought process behind that was, she puts on a lot of makeup, so maybe that's the reason. And the long eyelashes, the long ass fake eyelashes that she puts on, I genuinely don't like them, dude. I fucking hate them. And if this was up to me, I would put Tracy Cortez a bit lower. But once again, this tier list is more like objectively correct, not my personal opinion. So that's why I don't think anybody's arguing with me that Tracy Cortez shouldn't be where she is. When you start thinking of attractive female UFC fighters, who do you think of? Tracy Cortez. Uh, Me personally, I'm not a big Tracy Cortez fan. I was rooting for her, but then she got like absolutely destroyed by Macy Barber, if I'm not wrong. And then I'm like, all she does is like clip farm, and the reason she's famous is she's pretty and all that, and her pretty much fan base, or like the reason you'd be a fan of the way she's marketed is she's the pretty UFC fighter. That's what she is. But I genuinely don't give a shit if you're not gonna win fights. If you're gonna ruin my parlay, fuck you. I'm not necessarily the biggest Tracy Cortez fan. In my humble opinion, I would put her lower because for me, personality and all that stuff matters more than looks. Hold on, I'm gonna go get some water. But yeah, if you're talking on an objective basis and what the tier list is about, I think Tracy Cortez being in the waifu tier is fair above Natalia Silva. We have, who do we have? Do you know what anime? Oh, Juliana Pena. Now I thought about it a bit. Now, in my humble opinion, she should be in You're a Fighter tier. She doesn't look that bad. And without the scar tissue, she would be really pretty. She would be a certified baddie without the scar tissue and all that. But I fucking hate her. That's why she's in the meh tier. Once again, the same thing that happened to Nunez, I'm doing that to Juliana Pena. Is anybody except for people who are from Venezuela? Is there anybody except for those who are actually fans of Juliana Pena? I've never met a Juliana Pena fan, dude. Also, she fluked to win over Nunez, and that's the biggest highlight of her career. And she's genuinely annoying, dude. I remember UFC 316, the Kayla Harrison versus Pena press conference. Not only was I bored out of my fucking mind, she annoyed the shit out of me. So that's why, I did say aura, personality and all that doesn't matter, but aura points do come into account, and I think it knocks her down a tier. But I'm definitely putting her ahead of Angela Hill. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Ailin Perez. Dude, just play the clip of her twerking. I mean, are you fucking kidding me, dude? She's a certified baddie, dude. I mean, I'm not necessarily the biggest Ailin Perez fan or whatever, but it's not like I don't like her either, She actually goes out there and tries to win fights instead of just bullshitting like half the other female roster, So, I actually kind of like her, and I think certified baddie is fair. I think behind Inoue and behind Lupi Godinez, I think it's fine where she is. And her face card isn't the best, but it's not bad either. It's not bad when you compare it to the other people on the tier list, it's not best. But she has a lot of aura points, and that's why she is where she is on the tier list. She has too many aura points, dude. And I think it's justifiable I don't think it's justified. I think nobody's disagreeing with me that she's not a certified baddie, Next fighter on the tier list, we have Bia Mosqueda. Now, actually, I'm a big Bia Mosqueda fan. If you were to ask me, I would put her higher on my personal list. But once again, not my personal list. So, Bia Mosqueda, she's going in the meh tier. Ahead of Angela Hill, I'm behind Juliana Pena. She isn't necessarily the prettiest. She has a bit of scar tissue build up as well, and That name just that name kind of takes away aura points. But I'm a big Mia Mosquito fan. Don't get me wrong. If it was, in my humble opinion, she would be higher. But the reason I like Bia Mosquito is she goes out there and she submits people, and to me that matters more than anything else. But once again, that's not what this tier list is about. So yeah, she's going straight into meh tier. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Next fighter on the tier list we have Macy Chiasson. Now, her, I do have some grudges against her. This, the Yana Santos fight, dude. I picked her to beat Yana Santos. I was like, Macy Chiasson, she's actually good. She's like this new prospect or whatever. She's gonna go on the title run. How the fuck do you lose to Yana Santos? How the fuck do you lose to old aunt? My pronunciation is gone, dude. Old aunt, fucking 40-year-old Yana Santos. How do you lose to her? You're supposed to be a prospect. You're supposed to go on a title run. How do you lose to Yana Santos? Okay, but you know what? That's fine. Yana Santos crafted up a win, whatever. But the lesbian haircut, dude. I told you I will be taking points away for the lesbian haircut. And I'll be taking points away. And the fact that where the fucking memory of I have this memory, I remember this. After the Yana Santos fight, she had her hands up like she won. Who the fuck thought he won that fight? Who? I don't think even she thought. She just put her hands up in the air like, yeah, I won that fight. I don't care. So yeah, I'm not the biggest Macy Chiasson fan, and I'll definitely be taking away the points for the fucking haircut. If it wasn't for that, she would be a certified baddie. But because of that haircut and whatnot, I have to put her in your fighter tier behind Verna Jandiroba as well. Don't get me. I think it's fair. You could maybe argue a couple spots here or there, but I think it's pretty fair where she's placed. Next fighter on the tier list, we have who do we have? Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra Bueno Silva is going straight into the meh tier. Let's be real, she isn't that good looking, but I don't think it's because she's necessarily bad looking or whatever, but it's because of the scar tissue buildup, and that's why. Other than that, she's not necessarily that pretty, anyways. And if you were to ask me, you could make an argument for her being in your fighter tier, because that's what that is. The reason you'd be pretty, but you have a lot of scar tissue. That's what your fighter tier means. But the reason she's in the meh tier and not your fighter tier is because I fucking hate her. Okay, I don't hate her or anything, but I kind of feel bad for her, you know? Like, you fought for a title. Yeah, don't worry guys, I had to check something out. Whatever. So yeah, you fought for a title and now you're on this crazy losing streak. And I don't know how she got to the title. It was a pretty fraudulent run as well. So that's why you're going straight into the meh tier. And I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me on that one. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Chris Cyborg. Listen, if it was up to me, it really hurts me putting Chris Cyborg in the meh tier, but because I'm a big Chris Cyborg fan and the whole storyline and the weight cut and the 145 division and all that, I really like Chris Cyborg. But dude, I have to be objective here. The scar tissue buildup does not help. And that's why I respect these fighters so much, because you are willingly destroying your looks for a fight. But the scar tissue does not help. And also, why is she more muscular than the average male fighter, dude? But I'm a big Chris Cyborg fan, but I have to be objective here. She's going straight into the meh tier. And I'm not gonna talk about this more because it hurts me to talk about this, to put her where she is in the tier list. But it is what it is, I guess. Next fighter on the tier list, we have... Did I not add anybody in the fucking tier list? Am I retarded? We have Miesha Tate. She's an absolute baddie, dude. She's a certified baddie. She's going straight into certified baddie tier. But like I said, we're considering most of their looks throughout the career, and even through her career, the scar tissue buildup did happen, but it wasn't that bad or horrible. So, but she's genuinely a baddie, dude, and I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me on that one. Maybe after the scar tissue buildup, you could make an argument that you could knock her down a couple spots, but I think ahead of Inoue and behind Lupi Godinez is fine if we were to considering we are taking into account her whole career, her look throughout her whole career. So yeah, I think Misha Tate being in the certified baddie tier is pretty fair in my opinion. So let's move on. The next fighter on the tier list, we have Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza is going straight into your fighter tier. She isn't necessarily the prettiest. I wasn't necessarily ever a big fan of her, but I did like her when she was fighting. But once again, she suffers from the same fucking problem, the scar tissue buildup, and that's exactly why she's in a Eurofighter tier. She would be genuinely pretty, but she has a lot of scar tissue buildup. It is what it is. I'm placing her behind Macy Chiasson. I think it's pretty reasonable to place her where she is. I don't think anybody's crashing out over Carla Esparza being in Eurofighter tier. But yeah, I let's just move on. I don't even have words for this one. The next fighter on the tier list we have, who do we have? Who do we have? Jessica Andrade. Let's do Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade. Yeah, she's going in the mat tier. I think, in my opinion, she looks pretty. The face card is there. Should be in a Eurofighter tier. But the fact that she has that fucking lesbian haircut, I'm taking points away for the lesbian haircut. Dude, I don't care. Okay, she's going in the mat tier. She's probably the better ones in the mat tier as well. I'm putting her ahead of Bia Mosquito and Jessica Andrade. I get it. Female fighters cut their hair short and whatnot, but there's a way to go about this. Okay, Rose Namajunas does it really well. Werner Jandiroba does it really well. Why the fuck do you need to have a lesbian haircut? You know, you give me flashbacks to fucking prime 2017 football highlights. Prime Ronaldo, prime Neymar, dude. So yeah, I'll be putting her in the mat here. And yet, like Macy Chiasson, she reminds me of prime Ronaldo. that's why I haven't put her higher. Yeah. Jessica Andrade, I think mat here is pretty fine for where she is, and she also slammed my goat Rose Namajunas onto the fucking canvas, so I'll be taking points away for that. That's why I think she's pretty mat here is pretty fair. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Jillian Robertson. Listen, dude, we all like Jillian Robertson. Yes, her fights can be a bit boring at times, and it's mostly because it's grappling, and grappling can be a bit boring to most people, which they're fucking idiots. But Jillian Robertson, dude, the haircut. This is exact opposite of what I was saying about the lesbian haircut. It's great. It's beautiful, in fact. Jillian Robertson, once again, she suffers from the same problem of, you look at that picture of her and you're like, she has a lot of scar tissue buildup. The bone smashing, pretty much horrible bone smashing that happens to fighters a lot. So, but still, if we're gonna be for real, I think she's a certified baddie, dude, and she has a bit of aura points to carry her into that tier as well. I think it's pretty maybe I would put her lower or higher, I don't know, but I think she's pretty fair where she is behind Aileen Perez. Let's move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have, who do we have next? What the fuck am I doing? Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's do Michelle Watterson. Dude. Now this is a bit of an OG pick. This is me showing my elite ball knowledge. But dude, Michelle Watterson, if you ask me what my type is, there's two people I'm telling. Michelle Watterson and Rose Namajunas. You know, Michelle Watterson, when she had that short haircut, she had that short bob. Dude, perfect. She would actually be number one on this tier list, which she's not. Spoiler alert. If she hadn't changed her haircut so much. You know, at some point she had a bit of a lesbian-esque haircut, and some point she had longer hair, but I think that bob cut Michelle Watterson was perfect. Like, at least looks wise. She may not have been the best fighter, but that's just how it goes in the female divisions. You can't be a good fighter and look good. The goat of the sport, I've put it in the fucking eyesore division. So that's just how it goes. I think we can make a formula of this. The attractiveness of female fighters is inversely proportional to their ability to fight in the cage, and I think Michelle Watterson, dude, she's going straight in the waifu here. Like, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me on that one. I'm putting her ahead of Natalia Silva and ahead of Tracy Cortez. I know maybe some people will argue not to put her ahead of Tracy Cortez. The tier list is being made by me. I understand I have to be objective, but a little bit of my taste will come into play in this. So, she's going into straight waifu tier. She's going straight up into waifu tier. Let's move on to the next fighter on the tier list. Who should we do next? Fuck it, let's do Macy Barber. Macy Barber, I think she's going straight into the certified baddie tier. And you know, I like Macy Barber. I wanted her to win against Grasso. Let's not say I wanted her to win against Grasso. I wouldn't be mad if she won. If she beat Grasso. I actually even picked her. But Macy Barber, she also suffers from the problem of having scar tissue buildup and the bone smashing problems and all that. But dude, are you fucking kidding me? She looks like a fucking Barbie, dude. Like, I don't know why, but every time I look at her, she reminds me of the fucking classic Barbie dolls for some reason. And yeah, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me on that one, that she's pretty as fuck. I'll put her ahead of Jillian Robertson. I'll put her behind Aileen Perez. I think it's pretty fair where she is in the tier list. Next fighter on the tier list, we have... Who the fuck is this? I put her in the tier list. I don't know. I don't remember her name. She's the one who fought Varana Kahari. Brogan Walker. She's Brogan Walker. Yes. Brogan Walker, I'll be putting in the mat here. Now you might be wondering, Amanda Nunes definitely looks better than Brogan Walker to at least most people. But have you seen Brogan Walker like back in her day? Like, she wasn't necessarily that pretty then either, but she definitely looked better, and she also kind of has the problem of the scar tissue buildup and the bone smashing problem. So I'm not gonna put it in the eyesore tier because that's genuinely just disrespectful. She goes out there and she fights, and that's why her looks are a bit but I think it would be genuinely disrespectful. And also, if you're in the, like I said, if you're in the eyesore tier, that means I don't like you. It's not like I have anything against Brogan Walker, you know. She just doesn't look that good. That's it. And I think my tier is pretty fair. And I think let's just move on to the next person on this tier list. Hold on, let me get some water. Not bad. Yeah. Who do we put next in this tier list? Let's do Fatima Klein. Fatima Klein, dude. She's the modern day Rose Namajunas. That's who she is. Close enough. Welcome back, Rose Namajunas. You know, Fatima Klein, she has 4 points. She looks pretty. The reason she's not in the waifu tier, which I was really considering putting her there, she's the highest at the certified baddie tier. She's like the highest in the certified baddie tier, and she's barely in waifu tier. The reason, what's holding me back is the fucking haircut. I just can't. I can't. I generally can't. You know, I can't put her in the waifu tier with that shitty haircut. It doesn't make her look lesbian or anything. I think, okay, it does make her look a bit queer now that I think about it, but Fatima Klein, the reason she has aura points is because she goes out there and she fucking fights. I think she has some knockouts, and I'm a big Fatima Klein fan. If you were to ask me my opinion, you know where she'd be. So let's just move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have who do we have? John Bones Jones. Yeah. John Jones. I'm putting her or him, them, straight into the eyesore here, along with Amanda Nunes. Worse than Amanda Nunes, definitely, by a long shot. My reasoning for having John Jones in the eyesore tier is, first let me clear up why John Jones is in this tier list in the first place. John Jones is in this tier list because, considering his testosterone levels, he might as well be a woman. If you don't know what I'm talking about, excessive PED or steroid usage causes your natural testosterone levels to drop, and that's why he popped. And that's why he failed drug test. So, I think, and also, I hate John Jones. That's why I wanted him to be on this tier list. And the fact that his testosterone levels are so low just gives me an excuse to put him onto this tier list so I can put him in the eyesore tier. I fucking hate John Jones. I don't have anything against Nunes, but I have a lot of things against John Jones. You know, I don't think anybody is arguing with me for John Jones to be higher on the tier list. I mean, he's not even a fucking female. I don't think he can be higher on the tier list. But, yeah, let's just move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have, who do we have? Tabitha Ricci. She's like one of the most attractive fighters. If you ask me, I don't necessarily find her that attractive, in my humble opinion, but I'll be putting her in the waifu tier because, once again, I have to be objective here, and she's like barely certified baddie, you know. Maybe if she took a bit more damage to her face and the scar tissue buildup got worse, I would put her in the certified baddie tier. But as it stands right now, I think waifu tier is pretty fair. So, yeah, dude, let's go through this quickly. I've been rapping for about 50 minutes. Let's just go through this as quickly as I can. So, who should we add next? Okay, let's do Alexia Thainer. She's going straight in the Euro fighter tier. I don't think she's in the Euro fighter tier not because of the scar tissue thing, because she doesn't necessarily look good or she doesn't necessarily look bad, and I don't never been a big fan of her anyways, so I couldn't give less of a shit. So let's move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have the one and only, the GOAT, Rose Namajunas. Now, there is a bit of bias coming into play. I'm putting her straight in the waifu tier. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me on that one. And you're like, oh, what about the buzz cut? You said you didn't like lesbian haircut. I also said every female has a different lesbian haircut. And it's not even the hair length that's the problem when it comes to lesbian haircuts. It's the fact what haircut you're getting, that's the problem. You know, like if a girl has the prime Ronaldo 2017 haircut, technically speaking, she has longer hair than Rose Namajunas, but that's a more lesbian haircut than the buzz cut. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Are you understanding the baddie physics, the haircut physics? Baddienomics, I guess. So yeah, I'm putting Rose Namajunas straight in the waifu tier, higher than anybody on this tier list. The only reason Michelle Watterson is behind her is because she changed her haircut a couple of times in her career. Well, so did Rose Namajunas, but it is what it is. I'm biased as fuck. I'm a big Rose Namajunas fan. You knew she was gonna be number one on this tier list because I'm biased as fuck. Let's just move on straight. Let's just straight up move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have Manon Fiorot. I'm putting her in the certified baddie tier. The she's like, you would make an argument for her to be in a Euro fighter tier, but I think she's like barely makes it into certified baddie. You know, first time I saw her, I was like, maybe French people aren't so bad. that was my genuine reaction when I saw Manon Fiorot. So I think it's pretty. If that's your reaction to seeing a French person, if that's my reaction to seeing Manon Fiorot, is, oh, maybe French people aren't so bad after all. I think certified baddie is pretty fair. Maybe if you look at the people in the tier below her, I think it's pretty understandable to put her where she is on the tier list. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Jasmine Jasudavicius. Now, I'm a big Jasmine Jasudavicius fan. She did get knocked out by Manon Fiorot, but it doesn't matter. We are going to come back. We are going to go on a title run. We are going to be placed on every single fucking UFC Canada card there is. We are going to have Zins. We are going to rip Zins mid fight. If you guys don't know, okay, let's clear out what tier she is. I think she's in the certified baddie tier. She's genuinely pretty. I don't know how. And usually, what happens is throughout your career, as long when you go, the longer your career goes, the worse her looks get. But for some reason, she looks better than she did last year. I really need to work on my fucking stutter, dude. Than she did last year. So I don't know how that works, but I'm a big Jasmine Jasudavicius fan. You know, she's like my second favorite female fighter after Rose Namajunas, obviously. We all are rooting for Jasudavicius. If Jasmine Jasudavicius and Rose Namajunas fought ever, that would be like my parents getting a divorce. And that fight isn't that unlikely to happen either. And the reason she has aura points is she's literally one of the boys, dude. She was ripping a Zin mid fight. Like in her last fight in the UFC Canada card, fucking hell, she had a Zin in her mouth. I have to put her in the certified baddie here. There is no other way around it. She's genuinely a certified baddie. Next fighter on the tier list, we have, who do we have? Norma Dumont. Now, she's pretty. She did rob Caitlyn. I don't know. That fight was a split decision. It was close. You could score either way. Her fight with Caitlyn Vieira, but Norma Dumont. I mean, you take one look at her and you're like, dude, she's a certified baddie. I mean, I don't think I need any more words to explain myself as to why she's in the certified baddie tier. I'll put her behind Mizuki and ahead of Alien Perez. That's where I'll put her on the tier list. Next fighter on the tier list, we have, who do we have? Jocelyn Edwards. I'm putting her in the mid tier. Listen, as much as I like Jocelyn Edwards, I like her as a fighter. Once again, if this tier list was up to me, she would be way higher on the tier list. But once again, I have to be objective and I have to put her in the mid tier. Behind Juliana Pena, ahead of everyone else. She isn't necessarily that bad looking, but she isn't good. And the scar tissue add up doesn't help. And she doesn't have much aura points to carry her, except for the fact that she's the only good Edwards in the UFC. I don't know why Leon Edwards is catching a strain. A video about most attractive female UFC fighters. I don't know why Leon Edwards caught a strain that one, but I guess it is what it is. I'll be putting Jocelyn Edwards in the mat tier. Next fighter on the tier list we have Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I think she's a certified bad. Now you might think the scar tissue and all that, but dude, without the scar tissue, she's waifu tier. So I think with the scar tissue, she should be a tier down, and she's like barely in a Eurofighter tier. She's like barely in the Eurofighter tier, but she somehow makes it work, and she's like barely in the certified baddie tier. But dude, I am a Joanna fan, not necessarily a fan. I was a fan until the whole Jamal Hill situation thing happened. After that, I've just tried to ignore her as much as I could. You know, like I have to. So I don't know what the fuck she was on about there. So I'm gonna take a couple of points away for that one too. So I think certified baddie tier behind everyone else is pretty fair. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Holly Holm. I think she's in the Eurofighter tier. She's not bad looking. I think she's actually pretty. But also she has taken a lot of damage throughout her career, and that's why I think she's like one of the perfect examples for what Eurofighter tier means. And I'll put her behind Verna Chandiroba, ahead of Messi Chiasson. Maybe you could argue Messi Chiasson should be ahead of her and whatnot, but I frankly don't give two fucks. So Holly Holm, I don't know, man. I didn't have a lot of time to think about this one. So how long has it been? Fucking hell, it's been an hour since I've been fucking yapping. Fuck it, let's do 20 minutes more. I think Holly Holm, it's fair where she's on the tier list. Next fighter on the tier list, we have, who should we do next? Ronda Rousey. I'm putting it in the certified baddie tier. You might be thinking, oh, she should be in the waifu tier, she should be in the highest tier possible. You look at the people that are in waifu tier and then you compare them to Ronda Rousey. Dude. And it's because she's competing right now as well. She's gonna fight in the MVP card, so I'll be including not only till she retired, after she retired as well, the looks and all that. So she isn't necessarily the prettiest now, as she isn't as pretty now as she was back then. So I think that takes a couple of points away. And I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Every Ronda Rousey, like, what did Derek Lewis say? Did she ask about me? Nah, it's good. I'm married anyways. So yeah, I'll put her behind Fatima Klein. I'll put her ahead of everyone else. In my humble opinion, she would be a couple of points down because I do not like Ronda Rousey. It's not like I hate her or anything, but the type of fighters I like, she's not them. If that makes any sense. So, and also, the trash talk is just horrible, so I'll be putting her in the certified baddie tier behind Fatima Klein. Next fighter on the tier list. Okay, let's do Alexa Grasso. Finally. You know she was gonna be in this tier list as well. I'll be putting in the waifu tier. I don't think anybody's arguing with me on that one. I think she's behind Michelle Watterson. I think she's ahead of Tracy Cortez. The photo that they have of her on the fucking UFC website and ESPN and all that, that's not necessarily the best. But if you look at her generally, she's also like literally the owner of this tier list once again. She's one of those that, like, if you think about, attractive female UFC fighter, Alexa Grasso. That's it. I'm not the biggest Alexa Grasso fan, but after what she did to Macy Barber, I might have to be, dude. I might have to be. Like, I picked her to beat Natalia Silva, and I thought she could, but she just fucked up a little bit. But when she went out there and did that to Macy Barber, I was like, okay, I understand what the hype is about. And I think Yfoot here, behind Michelle Waterson and ahead of Tracy Cortez, is fine. You know, she's Latina. She's a Latina baddie. I don't know how you could rank her any lower than this. There's no way you are ranking her any lower than this. She has like probably one of the biggest fan bases of any female fighter there is. So yeah, let's move on to the next fighter on the tier list. We have Paige Van Zandt. I'll I'll add Paige Van Zandt to the waifu tier, just ahead of Tabitha Ricci, behind everyone else. Once again, this is sort of an OG pick. This is sort of me showing you guys how much of elite ball knowledge I have. Uh, yeah, I fucked up a bit. Hold on. Yeah, it should be fine. Paige Van Zandt, I think she's in the waifu tier. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with me. So yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just me showing you guys my ball knowledge. And the next fighter on the tier list we have is Ariane Lipski de Silva. Once again, waifu tier. I think ahead of Natalia Silva, behind Tracy Cortez. I think it's fine. Only if she was actually pretty decent at fighting, I would maybe be a fan of her and whatnot. I would maybe even put her higher. But I mean, just take a look. Just take a look. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, I don't know, man. Maybe you could put her higher. Maybe you could put her lower. To be honest, I don't give a fuck. I'm getting tired. I really need to drink some water. Hold on. Let's just move on to the next fighter on the tier list. Who do we have? Who do we have next? We have Jermaine Durandamy. Jermaine Durandamy is going straight into the eyesore tier. Now, if you ask me, like, if you were to be objective with it, then you're like, no, she doesn't look bad or anything. She's actually quite good looking. Why would you put her in the eyesore tier? Did you know that she fucking ducked Chris Cyborg for the belt? You guys know I like Chris Cyborg. And once again, if you're gonna be put into eyesore tier, it's because I don't like you. And I don't like Jermaine Durandamy because before John Jones, we had Jermaine Durandamy. You know, before John Jones ducked Tom Aspinall, we had Jermaine Durandamy ducking Chris Cyborg. You know, the division was made for Chris Cyborg, and she's holding the belt ducking Chris Cyborg. Fuck you. You deserve to be in the eyesore tier. I'm crashing out, dude. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Veronica Hardy. Once again, nobody disagreeing with me on this one. She's going into the certified baddie tier. I'll put her ahead of Joanna. I'll put her behind Jasuda Vicious. I think it's pretty fair. She also has a bit of scar tissue build-up and the whole fucked up face because of fighting. She has a little bit of that, but she's still pretty pretty, I guess. Fuck. What the fuck am I doing? Yeah. How long have I been recording? 6-7 minutes. 6-7. Yeah. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Polyana Viana. I'm putting her straight into waifu tier. No doubt about it. No questions. Polyana Viana. If you could maybe make an argument for Tracy Cortez or Lipski de Silva being ahead of her. But dude, have you seen the pain tattoo on her chest? The positioning is questionable. It could have been a bit higher. It shouldn't have been between her boobs, but in my opinion, not because like I have a problem with that or anything. Do what you want, but the reason that tattoo doesn't look good is because it's right in between her tits. So if you look at Pain from Naruto, the Pain tattoo and the Pain tattoo, dude, it looks like he's pouting. It looks like he's blowing up his cheeks. That's what it looks like because it's placed between her breasts. I don't know how I put this respectfully. I don't want to sound disrespectful or whatever, but or like a creep or whatever, but I mean the paint tattoo genuinely looks like he's pouting or whatever. So yeah, and Pollyanna Vienna, this is once again a crafty pick. If maybe only if she could fucking win fights. She has a decent personality as well, so or that's not holding her back. And maybe you could make an argument for her being ahead of Grasso as well, but she does have that fucking septum piercing, and I don't. I'm taking points away for the septum piercing, but I'm also giving points for the paint tattoo. So it sort of cancels each other out, and I think it's pretty fair where she is. Once again, I'm just showing you guys my ball knowledge at this point. Next fighter on the tier list, we have Gina Carano. Now, Gina Carano, she has that fight coming up with Ronda Rousey. This isn't necessarily ball knowledge, but, I think Gina Carano being ahead of Michelle Watterson is fine. The Gina Carano that rocked the short hair bob, I would almost, I was thinking about putting her ahead of Rose Namajunas, but then I was like, can she actually win fights? Well, once again, she's coming back after retirement, and she doesn't have as much aura points and as much X factor as somebody like Rose Namajunas. So I think it's pretty fair to say she's behind Rose Namajunas in the waifu tier, but I mean, dude, have you seen? And also, the reason for me putting her behind Rose Namajunas is because back in the day, if she stopped competing and just retired, and then, like I said, we are taking their looks throughout their career, and throughout her career, she was she looked pretty, but now she's a bit older, so I would not include her older self, but she's coming back to fight Ronda Rousey. So once again, I have to take that into account now, and that's why I have to take some points. And also, she's less of a fighter, more of a fucking actor at this point. So, and yeah, that should conclude the tier list. But there's one fighter left. There's one fighter left on the tier list. That is the baddest of them all. That is so good looking. That is so attractive. That is so hot. That they have a different tier for themselves alone, where they stand alone. Now you might be thinking who that is. Who could be a female who could be a fighter that's so attractive that they have their own division above Rose Namajunas, Gina Carano, Michelle Watterson, Alexa Grasso, Pollyanna Vienna. Who could be that attractive? And it's none other than Charles Oliveira!